It is time for the Drew Yari Show. Drew Yari.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Wednesday, January the 20th, 2021, and we're not live tonight. I'm just doing a solo show, pre-recording. In other words, I couldn't find anyone for the show tonight. No Kev. Kev's taking a little break from... He's just taking a break from podcasting. So he's not quitting, by the way. I'm not trying to break any news. So Kev's just he wanted a break from me tonight, and I don't blame him. I'd want a break from me too. RJ refused it. He just flat out refused to do a show with me tonight. But yeah, I just decided to just do a solo show tonight, just pre-record, no live. So yeah, I haven't done a solo show in a while. A lot in the news, mainly a lot of there's wrestling news, not too much, not a lot that's like that big. As far as wrestling goes, I mean, obviously, the big news coming out today. Yeah, I just got a notification from Discord. Yeah, Maurice, if you're listening, sorry, no live show tonight. I'm just gonna do a quick show. I'm just gonna do maybe like an hour 15. But the big news coming out today, the inauguration of Joe Biden. Joe Biden is our new president. Maurice, if you're listening to this, I'll answer your questions later. I'm not recording on Discord. Oh yeah, by the way, I forgot to put questions, but yeah, I'll answer the question later. So don't worry, I'll get to your question. But Joe Biden is the new president of the United States, the 46th president, which good. I mean, anyone that knows me knows I don't really get political on the show. It's a combination of just like I don't really educate myself that much with what's going on in the political world, which I probably should, and also it doesn't really matter to me. But it's good to have Biden. I guess my only thing is let's see what he can do first. I mean, because for all we know, he could be worse. I mean, not to say that Trump was any better, depending on who you ask. But who knows what he's going to do? I mean, he's already said what he plans on doing. I mean, one of the big things is that he plans on offering or continuing an extension on student loan payments, which that's good for me. I haven't had to pay a student loan payment since last year, like literally last March when the pandemic started. I think there's something else that he wanted to offer, which was like an extension on rent payments, like if you're living in an apartment. So another big thing which is good for everyone, that everyone's pretty happy about, is the stimulus checks. He's trying to make sure everyone gets $2,000 and not $600 this time. And the way he described it was $600 was supposed to be like a down payment, and $2,000 is where the big money's coming in. The talk is that he wants to get that done ASAP, and we're looking at it to happen at the beginning of February. So, we could be looking at getting a stimulus check in our income right around the same time. I mean, it'd be pretty dope if we can get it on the same day. You get that stimulus, you get that income on the same day. Another thing about income taxes, I just found this out today, is that they're pushing it back until February the 12th. And the deadline is April, which, from as far as I can remember, I think the deadline's always been April. So we can't start doing our income until February, which is weird. So as far as that goes, I'm not sure how that's going to be a thing now. Because usually, the past couple years, what I've been using was something called Vita. I'm not sure if anyone's aware of it. It's basically a volunteer, like a government funded tax place. It's in different areas. It's mostly in libraries. It's volunteer. People who do the taxes there are volunteer, and you don't have to pay a thing for your taxes. As a matter of fact, you get all your money. And as opposed to like if you go to TurboTax or H&R Block, and you have to pay for taxes. You have to pay to get your income, which I always thought was stupid. But I don't know how they're going to do it this year. Being with the COVID thing, I don't know if it's going to be like a I don't know if I'm fucking up my words. I don't know if it's going to be a thing where you have to drop off your taxes, your tax information, and then just come back when it's ready. Like it sounds I don't know, but come on, DeMar. I have the Spurs game on. DeMar DeRozan just got technical. He has 4 fouls already. What the fuck? 4 fouls already, and it's the first fucking quarter. Come on, DeMar. Chill. But yeah, I mean, that's really kind of my stance on what's going on. I mean, I'm happy we got Joe Biden. I mean, I said on the show a while back when I had, RJ, Kevin, and Monty, that the thing about Trump was that he never really elaborated on a lot of the dumb shit he would say. Saying, let's make America great again. Let's close off, the border to, let's build a wall so Mexicans don't get in, blah, blah, blah. It's like, he should have just backtracked and said, and in his defense, he did kind of, elaborate when he said not all people from Mexico are bad. Just there's a couple that come in and try to sell drugs and do A, B, C, and D. Whenever he said, let's make America great again, it's like, I don't mean let's take every minority and non-white person and send them back to wherever we think they came from. Let's make America great again, economy-wise. So, I mean, it's already been done to death talking about Trump. So he's gone. We got a new president. Let's see how he'll do. Let's see if he can make things. Speaking of Monty, he's on. Let's see if he can kind of make the country less stressful and less irritable. I'm not expecting him to be, Superman and just come in and just save the whole country. But let's see what he can do. So that's really my only thing about Biden, is let's see what he can do. Because we can sit up here and say, oh, he did A, B, C, and D. He says this. He stutters. He, has a bad memory or blah, blah, blah. Let's just see what he can do. Maybe he can be better. I don't know. Maybe he'll be great. Maybe he'll be not as good. So let's just see what he can do. That's really the only thing I'm going to say about Biden. So there goes my political talk for the night. That's all you're going to get from me. So let's see. What shall we talk about first tonight? So before we get into NXT and AEW and I'll talk about MLW for a bit too. It was announced during the week that, or actually, was it last week? What's today? I'll answer your question in a bit, Monty. I'll get to questions after I'm done reviewing the shows. So, it was announced by Stephanie McMahon via TMZ that WrestleMania will be 2 nights again. Actually, let me backtrack a little bit. It was announced on Monday. Was it Sunday or Monday? What the fuck? I'm trying to remember what fucking days those were. Saturday, actually. There you go. Saturday it was announced that WrestleMania will be 2 nights again. God damn it. Steph Curry hit a 3 and got fouled, so fuck. Expect me to just talk about this game. It's stressed me out already. But it was announced on Saturday that WrestleMania will be 2 nights again at Raymond James Stadium. It will not be at the Performance Center. Like last year, it won't be at was it Tropica Stadium, I believe? It will be at the Raymond James Stadium where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play. So, which, they were supposed to do that last year. Which is good. I think WrestleMania in general should just be 2 nights. They love to have, their 20 matches on the card. So, it's good for the fans. It's good for the people in attendance, which will, segue into that. that WrestleMania should be 2 nights. It's the biggest night of the year. So it makes sense, and I'm fine with it. And then segueing to, the fans, Stephanie McMahon announced that they will have fans in attendance. That it will not just be, giant, computer screens. There will be actual live, screaming, human fans. Which is good. And I'm glad, because WrestleMania needs fans. Wrestling in general needs fans. Not, people that work at the Performance Center or LED computer screens and fake crowd noise. Like, they need actual fans. Wrestling needs fans. I don't get how AEW is doing it and WWE doesn't want to do it. I really don't get it. I don't get how WWE doesn't capitalize on it. But, Stephanie McMahon was saying, that, in accordance to, Florida state law, with, the COVID guidelines, that they will, in fact, have fans in, as long as, they're obeying, the law as far as, how the COVID guidelines go. So, let me see if I can get an actual quote from her on here. She says, working with local organizing committee, all the health officials, health and safety is first and foremost, of course, for our fans, our performers, for the employees, for the staff working the building. There's a lot of different logistics that need to be determined. But hopefully it'll all work out, and this will be the first WWE event where we can actually bring the WWE Universe back together in person, and I cannot wait. And let's see. Let's see if I can pull up this article. The talk going around is that WWE is planning to have 25,000 fans at WrestleMania for both nights. Which, I wonder how that's going to work. I'm on here. The ever-reliable Russell votes claim WWE plans to have in excess of 25,000 fans attend the huge event, while internal discussions are ongoing over return to live television shows. WWE is planning on permitting upwards of 25,000 fans for WrestleMania that night. The real internal discussions are what to do after. Someone like a soft reopening of the touring schedule for live TVs, as continuing the Thunderdome post WrestleMania comes with location headaches. So the way this sounds is that we're getting fans back, which is good. And 2, this seems like it's the beginning of things kind of somewhat going back to normal. Somewhat. I think slowly, we are getting fans back in the arena. The talk is that somewhat by the summertime is when we're looking to get people back, which is good. I'm glad, because things need to get back to normal. Things need to be up and running. You look at the NBA, the NFL, and the NHL. They're doing traveling. They're actually traveling to arenas. But granted, no fans in the arena, but they're making it work, so it's good. And wrestling should do the same. Wrestling needs arenas, not just WWE. AEW has their fans, quote unquote. I'm not going to get into that. It'd be nice to see Impact have fans in their arenas. It'd be nice to see Ring of Honor have fans in their arenas. It'd be nice to see MLW have fans in their arenas, and we'll get to that in a bit. But we're looking at possibly the night after WrestleMania that we're going to be seeing, the WWE going back to touring, which is good, and I hope they do. Are they going to be traveling the globe? I have a feeling they'll probably maybe keep it simple. I'm not sure what they're going to do. They're probably going to keep it simple. They'll probably go to the states and cities that have, the lowest COVID numbers. I don't know what they're going to do. But as a fan, it'd be nice to see fans in the arena. Again, I don't know how the process is going to work. I don't know I don't know if they're just going to go automatically to Ticketmaster and just try to make that work. I don't know how that process is going to work, but I hope it does. Because again, selfish thinking, we need fans back in the arenas. But also, as a human being, being smart about this. You know, you want people to be safe. So how is WrestleMania 37 going to look with 25,000 fans in a pandemic era? Like, are they going to spread people apart? Like, you know, in different seats? They probably will. So, I don't know. We'll see. I don't think we'll never know how things are going to be by April. No, we don't know how things are going to be next month or in March or in the summertime. So we'll never know. But hey, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I kind of wish they would do that for the Royal Rumble. I mean, the Royal Rumble is an event that requires fans because the whole point of the Rumble is that, you know, it's the element of surprise. You know, because you need those fans chanting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You know, that having like a fake crowd noise do that, it kind of takes the steam out of it. But either way, I'm happy. I'm happy that we're getting fans back, you know, by WrestleMania time. Hopefully it works that way in the movie theaters. You know, because you know, we're supposed to be getting a lot of movies coming out this month, you know, this year that were supposed to come out last year. But you know, just it's like I've said on here before. You know, I miss the simple things. I miss being able to go to the movies. I mean, we could still go, but it's really not the same. We're not getting new movies. We're getting kind of older movies that we can see in the theaters now. I guess we're given a chance to see it again. And then HBO, you know, they're doing the whole thing with, you know, they're releasing their entire, you know, yearly schedule on Max, but you can also see in the movies. But it's really not the same. You know, going to the movies without that packed audience, it just isn't the same. You know what I mean? So, let's see. Moving on, we have. I don't even know if I want to talk about Ryback. Let's see. What did Ryback post? So, Ryback, I don't get what his whole deal is. He makes it very clear that he has no love lost for, you know, the WWE. He's made it very clear that he doesn't like Triple H. He doesn't like Vince McMahon. He doesn't like John Cena. He doesn't really like anyone that was in the company. Which is whatever. But he pretty much goes out of his way to constantly remind everybody why he hates the WWE. So the WWE on Fox on Twitter put the best superstar to never win a WWE championship is, and that's just for the fans to kind of choose. And then he retweeted it by quoting wrestling's fake guys and the championships are props to market entertainers as quote-unquote champions. Nobody has actually won or lost a prop, as scripted physical entertainment is incapable of that. This tweet explains so much through on your TV deal with them. Which... I mean, come on. Oh, God, this guy's a fucking idiot. And then Jim Cornette. You know, of course, as Jim Cornette, you know, does, he feels that he has to defend the business, which is admirable in some aspects. He put at Ryback, who would never have been allowed in the business before it all went to hell, "Hey, fat guy." If you'd said this in public 30 years ago, your fellow entertainers, quote unquote, would have kicked the shit out of you. And rightfully so. Fuck you. End quote. And then, you know, Mark Henry chimed in. Let's see. I don't have everything right here, but basically I'm just gonna, like, you know, skim through it. But so basically, Mark Henry, I believe he was on Bubba Ray's or Bubba Dudley's, you know, podcast, and he just, you know, said that, you know, Ryback is disrespectful and he would hurt people, and ABC and D. To which Ryback, you know, put out a lengthy, I don't even know if it was a tweet or something on Instagram, where he just said, listen, I'm not going to get into a war of words with Mark Henry. I like him. I respect him. I don't know why he's trying to come at me. He convinced me to get checked for sleep apnea. Otherwise, I would have had a heart attack, A, B, C, and D. To which Mark Henry replied with, I will beat the ever-living shit out, saying something along the lines of, I'll beat the ever-living shit out of you. I could, rip the skin off your bones, blah, blah, blah. To which Ryback replied, saying that an unnamed WWE agent had said that John Cena didn't want to work with Mark Henry because he thought Mark Henry was his shits, and that he caught Mark Henry sleeping, the day of WrestleMania 29 before their match between him and Ryback. To which Mark Henry said, "Who was this agent?" Like, it's just a war of words between Ryback, and then Ryback, went on his Instagram and just went on a rant, which I didn't watch. I had no interest in watching. I have no interest in hearing anything Ryback has to say. Ryback to me is just a definition of a bitter bitch. There's really no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He is bitter. He is a bitter bitch. He's somebody that, I'll give him credit where credit is due. He had a lot of hype around him. I mean, when he was doing the Feed Me More shtick, that was getting over. The fans were chanting it. But, the fans were kind of getting tired of it because what else can he do? He can't go out there and have a match. He can't work. He obviously gets gassed out. Here's something that they pointed out, because I was listening to Cornette's show with Brian Last, where he actually trademarked the name Ryback so that way, he wouldn't get, messed with by the WWE. He can actually use it anywhere he wants. And he hasn't really used it anywhere. He hasn't wrestled in, 2 years? Which he pointed out that he hasn't wrestled because, he had to get surgery. Which, okay, fine. But even before, I don't know, it's just, I have a problem with bitter people. Like, if your whole shtick is that you're constantly going to bring up why you hate this company, then there's really nothing interesting about you. I'm pretty sure in like a few years he'll be back. That's usually how it works in the wrestling business. Because there was talk about Alberto Del Rio coming back, and he wanted to come back after he was trashing the business. And then he, got in trouble. But, I'm pretty sure he'll be back. He'll be back, and he'll be kissing ass in no time. That's usually how the business works. But I doubt Vince will want him back. I'll doubt even Triple H will want him back. So, the point I'm making is that Ryback is a bitter bitch. It's pretty much how it looks. Mark Henry was right to go after him because Mark Henry loves his business. He defends it. He has a better outlook on WWE than, Ryback did. And again, it's like any other job. We're all going to look at a job differently than most people are. Like, I'm not going to name the name of the place, but I hated a certain job that I used to work for, but there's people that still work there that like it because of A, B, C, and D. Things work out better for other people. And that's understandable. CM Punk left the WWE because he couldn't stand a lot of shit there, but, you got a guy like AJ Styles who was cut from the same cloth as CM Punk. Same thing with Daniel Bryan. And they're able to make it work. It also, I think, another thing that comes into play is personality-wise. A guy like Mark Henry is someone who's known to be a lot more easier to deal with. Whereas a guy like Ryback, is said to be a little bit more difficult to deal with. Same thing with like AJ Styles and CM Punk. AJ Styles is known to be someone who's a little bit more easier to deal with. You don't really hear too many bad things about AJ Styles, but you hear mixed reactions of CM Punk. And it seems like it's a lot more than positive. So, either way, it looks like Ryback won. It looks like Ryback's kind of losing this. He's falling out of the public eye or not even the public eye, he's falling out of favor for the public because he's not doing himself any favors by just constantly taking shots at the company. Again, we're not trying to say WWE's innocent in all this, but it's just like, it's like that meme where it's like nobody else, and then Ryback, WWE fucked me over. It's like, dude, we get it, we know. It's like, it's different if someone asks you about it, but if no one literally asked you anything about it, then you should probably shut the fuck up. It's that simple. It's that simple, big guy. So moving on from this topic. What else should we talk about? I guess we should just... I'll talk about MLW for a bit. So I just started watching MLW. I was already subscribed to the YouTube page because they do their shows on YouTube. And it's every Wednesday. It's every Wednesday before NXT and AEW start at 6. And I've been wanting to talk, to watch it for the longest time. I know RJ loves it. So I kind of wanted to give that a chance. I wanted to give that and also a lot of other companies a chance. I want to try and get into Impact Wrestling and, Ring of Honor. So, because when we were doing, the New Year's show, I was just like he was choosing, choices that I wasn't really aware of, to where I was just like sticking mainly to like, NXT, WWE. So, I mean, that's kind of like my New Year's resolution, and, to kind of pay more attention to other wrestling companies. So, sorry, I got a burp. So, MLW was tonight. The one match I was really looking forward to was, was Jacob Fatu versus ACH, which I thought was interesting. Other, people I saw Simon Gotch, which was interesting. He's not, he's far from the vaudevillain gimmick. He's a part of, Contra, which is, the big heel gimmick in MLW. And then, Daivari, who I haven't seen in a while, who's fucking diesel jacked. Great shape, by the way. He's in Contra as well. So, it was a very Contra-heavy show. And the main event, of course, ended up being, for the world title. You had ACH going up against the champion, Jacob Fatu. Part of that Anoa'i family. And it looks like ACH is kind of having like a career, almost like a boost in his arm for his career, because, sometime, pretty much around this time last year, actually, there was the whole thing with, when he was Jordan Miles in NXT, and the whole thing about the t-shirt, and he was calling out WWE for being racist, and he was pretty much burying himself, to the public, and, to pretty much, the wrestling business in general. And, now he's in MLW. I don't know how long he's been there, but, he's in MLW. And, I mean, so far, from what I haven't really heard him causing any other problems. I mean, I think I remember him, giving a speech, kind of apologizing for his actions. So, I mean, hey, I think everyone's allowed a comeback. Everyone fucks up, everyone makes mistakes. It all matters on how you handle it, and he's handled it. I mean, he's kind of kept his nose clean. That's a bigger speech. He's kept himself out of trouble. He hasn't said any dumb shit. So I'm happy that he's doing good. And then he had this match with Fatu. The story behind it was that from last week's show that I watched, the main event was the Von Erichs, Ross and Marshall versus La Parka, I believe, for the tag team titles, and the referee was Dirty Tom Lawler. Is it Dirty or Filthy Tom Lawler? I'm new to MLW, so I'm trying to learn as much as I can. It was the main event, and he was the special referee, and he was, of course, working for the heels, which was La Parka. And then he ends up doing a fast count, and La Parka are the new tag team champions. So the story behind this was that Dirty Tom Lawler and his crew attacked ACH outside the gym. And, the whole point of the match is that ACH was selling the fact that he was hurt, which we don't get we don't get too much of that in wrestling. We don't get too much of a story to tell, which is, hey, I got bad ribs, then that means I have no business doing a suplex or trying to lift a 300, 400 pound guy up. And I like that storytelling. I'm a stickler for details. And I'm glad they did it tonight. Jacob Fatu is just a beast. There's really no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The guy's a beast. He works a lot different. He's certainly not Roman Reigns. He works a lot different than Roman Reigns. Roman works a little bit more dominant. Like he's more of a guy that goes out there and beats the shit out of people. He doesn't do too many risks. Fatu works a little bit like because I'm not sure if the Usos are his brothers or his cousins, but he kind of works somewhat like them, but he dials it back a little bit like Roman, where he doesn't do too many risks. I guess the best way to describe him is that he's like a smaller Keith Lee. That's the best way I can describe him. His finishing move is a moonsault, and it's a nice looking moonsault. I haven't seen a moonsault in a while, so to have a moonsault as your finish, it works, especially for a big guy. If you're a big guy and your finishing move is a moonsault, that works for me. So he gets points in my playbook, or points in my book. I'm sorry, but I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm really liking what I'm seeing. I remember I put it on Twitter that I think the Von Erichs are stars. One guy I'm interested in really seeing is Alexander Hammerstone, because the first time I saw him, I thought he was small, but then apparently he's 6'4", and he does look like he's 6'4". He might be 6'3", I don't know, but I put it on Twitter that I think they're stars, and then Court Bauer, who's the CEO of MLW, tweeted at me saying, yeah, we're glad to have you as a fan, blah blah blah, and Alexander Hammerstone actually liked my tweet, so that's cool. But the four core guys that I like, that whole bunch. Alexander Hammerstone, obviously, and I'm gonna watch him next week. Jacob Fatu and the Von Erichs. Those guys are stars. How those guys aren't signed anywhere is beyond me. I mean, granted, maybe they don't want to be signed anywhere right now. Maybe they're seeing what's going on in AEW and NXT, and they're like, I mean, NXT I think would treat them better. I could see Hammerstone in NXT. I could see the Von Erichs in NXT. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if they would try to change their name. I really don't know. I don't know if they would try to give them a different name. Like the Texas Tornadoes. Like, I don't know about that. Fatu, I could see him being in AEW, but it's going to be kind of hard to watch, of him trying to make Jon Moxley look serious, or him trying to put over Kenny Omega's shit. Like, I really don't. What would be a dark horse candidate for a lot of these guys would go to Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling, aside from, the whole dinner murder mystery theater thing, they have some good wrestling on there from what I've seen. So, I don't know. I want to see those guys do well. I want to see those guys, become bigger stars and have the spotlight shine on them. So, we'll see. But Alexander Hammerstone, he's like a mini Brock Lesnar. I can see him going to NXT. I could see Triple H wanted to make him into the biggest star in the world. So, I don't know. We'll see. So that's my MLW talk for the night. So, RJ, if you're listening, you're welcome. So let's get into NXT for a bit. So the first match on the card was the I guess another match for this Dusty Rhodes Classic, which personally I'm not a really big fan of it. I just But okay, here we go. Like, I can't really tell what's a bigger insult, is Dusty Rhodes being attached to it, or it being called a classic. I would say the classic part is a little bit more offensive, but I don't know. We'll see. But the first match on the card was Leon Ruff and Kushida versus Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory. I was kind of half paying attention. I had this and AEW on at the same time, so I was trying to watch both shows, but both matches were not that appealing to me, so I was kind of like half paying attention. Kushida and Ruff on, which I was kind of shocked by. I really was kind of shocked by it because I would have figured this was going to be a thing to put over, the Way group. But, I guess I was wrong. I guess, they think the world of Kushida. And maybe that's going to be a feud down the line, which is good. I mean, I like Kushida. I want to see him get over. I'm glad he's not doing, the stupid Marty McFly Back to the Future shtick. So, I'm glad he's actually wrestling. So good. Kushida and not Daniel Bryan, Johnny Gargano, I can get behind that. I'm fine with that. So, and then Leon Ruff is just, I still don't get the appeal. I still don't get the whole, appeal behind him. I really don't. I honestly don't. I don't know what Triple H sees in him, but, I mean, whatever. And, yeah, that was the first match. Let's see what's up next. Pete Dunne had a video package, calling out Finn, saying they had a history, blah, blah, blah. And that Kyle O'Reilly is cleared for action. Let's see. Karrion Kross comes out against Ashanti Adonis. Wins, rightfully so, and beats the ever-living piss out of him. And just beats the shit out of him. And then he has a new finishing move, which is just like a hit to an elbow to the back of the head, which I'm not a fan of the finish, personally. I mean, I like the submission he did. Personally, I mean, a guy like Kross should be doing a power move as his finisher. Like, in a perfect world, he should be doing a tombstone. A tombstone would be a dope finisher. I mean, or he can just stick to the submission he was doing before. I don't know, but yeah, the hit to the back of the head. Like, I don't know if that was his idea or somebody else's idea. But I mean, because what Kevin Castle says is that Kross doesn't have anyone mess with his stuff. He has creative input on everything he does. So supposedly that's his idea. So if that's the case, then that's his idea. So but yeah, I don't like the finish. I don't care for the finish, but it is what it is. So I mean, it's better than Jericho's spinning forearm that nobody seems to kick out of. So and after the match, Desmond Troy gets attacked by Kross. So Kross beats the shit out of two guys. I like seeing Kross beat the shit out of guys. He should not be having competitive matches against, Jesus Christ, Keldon Johnson cannot hit shit tonight. Karrion Kross should not be having competitive matches against jobbers. That's it. I mean, if you're going to send him out there against jobbers, he should be beating the shit out of them. Ugh, 7. Curry's killing us tonight. Let's see. MSK had a video package. And I like MSK. I mean, I think they're very talented guys. There are two guys that should probably not be on my main roster. They're a team that should probably stay on NXT for as long as they can. But I like them. I mean, they have personalities. You don't see too many guys that have personalities. So, I like them. So, let's see. You have Imperium versus Lucha House Party. And Lucha House Party wins for some reason. Which, I guess, whatever. That sets up, the match with the Logada del Fantasmos. I'm probably saying it wrong. I don't really give a shit. Imperium, both teams I didn't really care for. I mean, I don't really care for Lucha House Party. they get the crowd riled up. I mean, they're a team that gets the crowd riled up. They're not untalented. I just That's really all I gotta say. And then Imperium, I just don't care. Unless it's Walter, I don't care. I said on the show, I said earlier on Twitter that nobody else besides Walter should be coming out to Walter's music. They should be coming out to their own different music because Walter is the only person in that group that matters. And I don't know how bad the travel ban is over, where he's at, but he needs to be back ASAP. Like, we need Walter back. This whole Imperium group, missing him is just, it's detrimental. And then Alexander Wolf came back, so I don't know if that's going to be a thing where possibly he comes back. So, and then Beth Phoenix is back, so it's good to see Beth. I like Beth. And they're talking about the women's Dusty Rhodes Classic. Next match we have Toni Storm and Mercedes Martinez versus Casey Catanzaro, Kaden Carter. For the majority of the match, Storm and Martinez are kicking ass. And then Io Shirai comes out and throws Mercedes Martinez over the announce table. She's not forgetting what happened to her a couple weeks ago. So setting up a feud between them, which I'm interested in seeing. Martinez and Shirai. So that leaves Storm by herself, and then Catanzaro goes for a 450 Swanton thing. That's what it says here on Cage Side Seats. A 450 Swanton thing. And then pin Storm, so now Catanzaro and Kaden Carter are now advancing to the next round. To which, I look at all the participants in this entire women's tag team tournament, and I'm like, we can already tell what the main event's going to be, or what the finals is going to be. It's going to end up being Raquel and Dakota versus Shotzi and Amber. Like, that's how it's going to be. There's really no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And more than likely it's going to be Raquel and Dakota. That's how I view it, because they already have a rocket ship on Dakota. I mean, not Dakota, on Raquel, who looks a lot better outside the ring. Not that she looks bad when she's wrestling, but she's been doing a lot of modeling and photo shoots, and she looks good. She is a good looking woman, as John Draper would say. And let's see. The NXT champ walks in Regal's office and wants a match with Pete Dunne. William Regal tells him, he wants a match with Pete Dunne, but then he says, I'm willing to wrestle the other two guys, Birch and Lorcan, but William Regal tells him, I want to save you from yourself. Unless, you find a tag team partner, you can't wrestle him. So he looks for a tag team partner, and then he finds Kyle O'Reilly. Which, that was kind of painfully obvious. Let's see. Next match was Bronson Reed versus Brian Rust. Tyler Rust, I'm sorry. Tyler Rust. Which was a good match. I like Bronson Reed. I like Rust, too. I'm starting to like him a lot more. He has a good look. His name, not so much. But I like both guys. They had a pretty good match. Bronson won, which, made sense. And, we don't see enough of Bronson. I want to see more of Bronson. But, I don't know if they just don't really have anything for him to do. Maybe that's the issue. Because for a while, he was on TV every night. And then now they're just using him sparingly. But it looks like they're going to maybe he's going to be used a lot more since, now, Priest is gone. Priest is going to the main roster. And then Rhea is, going to the main roster. So, it'll be good to see Bronson a lot more. It'll be good to see someone like Tyler Russell a lot more. So, it's good to see him in the ring. It's good to see these guys back, especially Bronson, because he's someone that it is has a lot of potential. He's someone that has star quality to him. So let's see what the next match is. Escobar comes out and cuts a pretty weird promo. He mentions Karrion Kross for some reason, and I immediately start thinking, like, is Kross gonna come out and beat the shit out of Escobar? Like, he gives like the usual promo of like I've beaten everybody and nobody can beat me and blah blah blah. And then for some reason he mentions Karrion Kross, which I'm just like, why do you mention Karrion Kross? Is Kross coming out? And then Lucha House Party comes out, and it sets up their match next week. And then some guy named Kurt Stallion comes out, who I've never seen before. And this guy's supposed to be on 205 Live. And the guy's fucking 6'1". The guy's 6'1", and he's supposedly in the Cruiserweight division? He kind of looks like a skinny Matt Riddle. I mean, I have to say Matt Riddle's big, but he looks like Matt Riddle if he wasn't as in shape. That's how I'm going to put it. And he's in the Cruiserweight division. Okay. Here's what I've said about Escobar, and I said this when I had, the other three guys, I'm forgetting their names. Monty, RJ, and Kevin. Which was, Escobar is good. He has a good look to him, he's talented, but the whole Cruiserweight thing is holding him back because he's bigger than he has a lot more muscle on him, and he's bigger than Finn Balor, who's the World Heavyweight Champion on NXT. He's bigger than Johnny Gargano, who's supposed to be the secondary, champion on NXT. There's really not a lot for him to do on 205 Live, so this is a guy that should have been feuding with Adam Cole or Kyle O'Reilly or Finn Balor already. But that Cruiserweight division is doing him no favors. Personally, in my opinion, 205 Live needs to go. The Cruiserweight title needs to go. There's no benefit in having it. I mean, I would say integrate it into NXT. Get rid of 205 Live, the show, and get rid of the Cruiserweight title. Put those guys on NXT, and just start doing a lot of spring cleaning. Oh man, what's going wrong with this company? And let's see. And okay, main event time. You had Tommaso Ciampa versus Timothy Thatcher in a fight pit match, which we haven't seen a fight pit match since. When's the last time we saw a fight pit match? Was it in the summer? I believe it was in the summer. Sometime in the summer. I know it was Riddle. It was Riddle and Thatcher. And that was the last time Riddle. That was Riddle's send off NXT before he got to the main roster. And that was a good match. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this match too. I mean, it's pretty simple and self-explanatory. They didn't do anything that was stupid. That's the best way I'm going to put it. I liked that they began it on the top, and then they worked their way to the bottom. And it was good back and forth action going. A lot of good submissions. Man, my mind's so blank tonight. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed the match with Riddle a little bit better, but I enjoyed this as much. I don't think this was a Ciampa's match, because the whole point of the fight pit match is that it's supposed to be like a take on the UFC. Or you know what? Any wrestling fans my age or older, they'll remember the Lion's Den match from back in the day, when the ones they used to have on Raw and like pay-per-views and shit. This is a match that's better for guys that are more submission specialists. It worked out better for Riddle and not Ciampa, but Thatcher, because they're both submission guys. They're both MMA guys. Yeah, who else? I mean, you can put Cross in a fight pit match. His whole shtick is submission. He does Muay Thai and karate and shit like that. So maybe he can pull that off. Or there's another guy, Kyle O'Reilly and Thatcher in a fight pit match. That'd be dope. I'd pay money to see that. But yeah, Ciampa's not really a submission guy. He's not really a submission guy. So I like I said, I enjoyed the Riddle and Thatcher match a lot better. But yeah, just this was good, but it wasn't as great. And I also think, again, I think Ciampa was just out of his element a little bit. Because, again, his whole thing isn't submissions. It's more like striking and, fighting and kicks sometimes. Or in mat wrestling. But it was a good match. I don't know what this leaves both guys. Thatcher won the match, by the way. I don't know what this does for Ciampa. I don't know if he's leaving, or I don't know if this is his final match in NXT. He's not going to the main roster. He's already said that there's no way in hell he's going to the main roster. That if he goes to the main roster, he's going to retire and just be a trainer. So what else is there left for Ciampa to do? I personally think it's time for him to call it a day. I mean, because he has a job in NXT for life. He can be a trainer. He can be an agent. He can help write the show. I don't know what he can do. But, for Thatcher, what else can he do? I mean, I don't think he's doing that whole Thatcher's catch can wrestling thing anymore. Do you put him in the main event? Do you have him work against guys like O'Reilly? I mean, a program with O'Reilly would be pretty good. I mean, that would be, a wrestling purist, wet dream. Or, what do? You put him up against Cross? I mean, that would be interesting. Because Thatcher's, he wouldn't be afraid of Cross, but I'm pretty sure Cross would still win. What do you have him do? I think the ceiling for a guy like Thatcher is he's not going to be a world champion. His ceiling is North American title. That's really his ceiling. Ciampa is going to be the guy that goes out and works with the other guy that, is the main event. But he's not actually going to win. So, that is the NXT review. News for NXT. They signed 3 new women. Zoe Stark. I have no idea who that is. She'll be going under... here we go. Lacey Ryan will now be going under Zoe Stark. I don't know who Lacey Ryan is. Priscilla Kelly, if anyone knew her, she had a unfortunate mishap with a tampon. And she was also Darby Allin's ex-wife. She's now Gigi Dolan. And Elena Black, who I follow on Twitter and Instagram, a good-looking one, by the way. She'll now be Core Jade. And they will be in the Tag Team Classic, so good for them. Good to have some fresh new blood. And let's talk about AEW, which this should be quick. Show begins with a birthday celebration of Negative Ones, which is Brody Lee's son. And it's a 3-man tag team, or 6-man tag with who the hell is it? Hangman Adam Page and the Dark Order, Alex Reynolds, Colt Cabana and John Silver versus Chaos Project, Dr. Luther, Serpentico, and TH2, and Helico and Jack Evans. Wasn't really paying attention to this match. Like I said, I was watching both matches, so I was kind of fading out. And the Dark Order and Hangman win. After the match, the Dark Order asked Adam Page, are you going to join the Dark Order? Right as soon as he says no, they already have a celebration up there. He said yes, and they have a marching crew come out, and I think Alex Reynolds had to chase him out. So I thought that was kind of funny. And then Adam Page said, "I don't do the group thing anymore." Walks out of the ring, takes his bottle of whiskey, and there's that. And let's see. MJF and Chris Jericho have an interview segment backstage talking about the 6-man tag they have tonight. I'm just going to let you guys know I didn't watch the 6-man tag. As soon as the Fight Pit match came on, I just turned off AEW. So I'm just going to let you know it ahead of time. Let's see. Sting comes out. Darby Allin comes out. Sting says he sees himself in Darby. Blah, blah, blah. And then Taz gets on the screen, talks his usual shit. All 5 of Team Taz. Okay, the whole thing with Team Taz and Sting, I still find it's not even hilarious anymore. I think it's sad. Okay, you have a 61-year-old man in Sting who has a baseball bat. Then you have Darby Allin, who I know is not 30, and he just has his skateboard. And he's skinny as fuck. And then you have Team Taz. You have Taz, who's, looks like a... Look, who the fuck were those things on Willy Wonka? I don't know, he's just a short motherfucker. He's just a short, pudgy motherfucker. And then you have a son named Hook, which, okay. You have Ricky Starks, who I like. I like Ricky Starks. I think he's talented. You have Brian Cage and Willie Hobbs, who are built like brick shit houses. Willie Hobbs, who's green as fuck. And then Brian Cage, who has potential, but he's still green. He still has an FTW title for some reason because they're trying to make that into a thing. And every fucking week they seem to either run away or walk away from a 61-year-old man with a baseball bat. And I don't know the situation. I don't know if Sting if he can't take bumps. I mean, supposedly he's going to wrestle again. I mean, they can't just make it look fake. I mean, they can't just throw punches at him and make it look fake. Isn't that the point of wrestling? Make it look fake. You're not actually stopping him. What the fuck? 5 guys are running away from a 61-year-old man with a baseball bat. I still don't get it. I still really don't get it. It baffles me. I really don't know. I mean, it's not like you have to do moves on him. All you have to do is just beat him up. Just punch him in the gut and just start stomping on him. That's all you got to do. It baffles me. It really does. Ugh. Britt Baker did a thing hyping up, her match with Thunder Rosa at Beach Break. The Young Bucks have a meeting at Kenny Omega's house, and they super kick Don Callis. Let's see. Cody Rhodes had a match against Pretty Peter Avalon, who I said I think he looks like a junior high science teacher. You get it? He's pretty. You get it? He's not pretty. His name is Pretty Peter Avalon because he looks very homely. Did you get it? Ugh. So Cody comes out to his new Snoop Dogg rap entrance, which it's like Jim Cornette says, he put a hat on a hat. He already had a bad theme, and then he decided to make it even worse. It's like, why? So then who's the black girl with the blonde hair? What is her name? Jade Cargill's music hits. She comes out to distract Cody, and Pretty Peter Avalon kicks Cody in the nuts. To which, here's how wrestling usually works. As long as I've been watching it, by the way. When there's usually a distraction, and the other guy kicks the other guy in the nuts, he'll usually go for the pin. He won't continue to work on somebody's leg and give them time to recuperate and think of a plan to come back. That's what this motherfucker did. Instead of kicking him in the nuts and doing his finisher and going for the pin, like any other fucking wrestler would have done in the history of fucking forever, he decides to not just kick him in the nuts, but work on his leg and then throw him outside and work on his leg and work on his leg and work on his leg. Whatever. Anyways, Cody wins the match because he puts him in a figure four, and apparently he told Peter Avalon, if you don't tap out, I'm going to slap you. Peter Avalon decided to tap out because he didn't want to get slapped. Do you see why I don't watch this show? Oh, wait. Screen went black for a second. Okay, we're good. So, we have a promo with FTR. Talking to Jurassic Express. And next week's going to be Dax Harwood versus Jungle Boy. Which, cool. I like Jungle Boy. I want to see Jungle Boy do a lot more. I don't want to see Marco Stunt on my television ever again. Luchasaurus sucks. So let's just have Jungle Boy. I like Jungle Boy. I want to see him do a lot more. And then I have a match next week. Jon Moxley makes his entrance, send us to break. Jon Moxley versus a guy named Nick Comorado. Kind of looks like an old school wrestler from, like the 70s and 80s. And they said on, commentary, this guy supposedly can lift 600 pounds. And Jon Moxley just puts him to sleep like nothing. If you're going to have a job guy in there, have him be a job guy. Have him look like a job guy. Don't have him look like somebody that can actually beat the shit out of Moxley. Like, that guy looks like he can fucking, butt fuck Jon Moxley in the middle of the ring if he wanted to. Yeah. Moxley gets on the mic and talks a lot of shit and blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Eddie Kingston is interviewed backstage with the Butcher and the Blade, and he's going to have a match with who the fuck is it? Lance Archer next week, so Kenny Omega finds out that he got kicked that Don Callis got kicked in the face by the Bucks. Next match, we have Matt Hardy and the Private Party versus Matt Sydal and Top Flight. I mean, I thought it was an okay match. I thought it was probably the best match of the night. And then, who was it? What the hell? Who the hell had the steel chair? Yeah, one of the Private Party guys had a steel chair and he hit one of the Top Flight guys with it. So then I think it was Mark Quinn. He goes for a shooting star press, gets the win. Matt Sydal and Top Flight, they get in there, they confront him like, what the hell? And then Private Party and Matt Hardy just proceed to beat the shit out of him, so now they're heels. So, I mean, I like Private Party. They needed a character change, so good for them. And Matt Hardy's no longer broken. He's big money, Matt. There's a thing with MJF, talking to Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara gets in his head, or gets in his face, and then talks a lot of shit. And again, I didn't watch the main event. Next match was Layla Hirsch versus Penelope Ford. I didn't watch it. Penelope Ford won. And now we got the main event. Again, didn't watch the main event. Jericho and MJF won by MJF pulling tights on Guevara. So that was pretty much the end of the show. Yeah. Again, typical AEW show for me. I didn't really care for it and wasn't really paying attention to it too much. Just AEW's problem is that they don't know how to book guys. They don't know how to book big guys. They don't know how not to book stupid comedy. They don't know how to make people look cool. That's how I'm looking at it, because Kenny Omega is not cool. He needs to cut that fucking hair already. That stupid 80s mop hair that he has, I don't like it. It's stupid. It was never cool. He needs to cut it. It's dumb. I mean, he's no spring chicken. He's gonna be pushing 40 pretty soon. So he needs to fucking get rid of that shit already. It is not cool at all. Not cool. The whole thing with the Inner Circle, which I'm going to talk about, is like, I like Santana and Ortiz. I like that. Was it Ortiz is not doing any goofy shit anymore. He's not going out there and being comical. That's a team that could have easily been one of the best teams in the company. But I don't know what they're doing with them. And MJF has kind of gotten worse since being with Jericho. He's continuing to do more stupid comedy shit. Guevara I like. Guevara's a guy I've done a 180 on because, again, wasn't a fan of him at first, but I like him now. He's someone that has benefited from being, on Jericho's side because he's shown that he can have a personality. And he can work, too, when he's not almost killing Matt Hardy. So, there you go. But AEW, to me, is just a rough show to get through. It really is. The whole Sting thing. Sting, I think he needs to cut out the fucking, snowing in his entrance. I don't get the point of it anymore. The whole point of it at first was, promoting, winter is coming. Which is Game of Thrones is an HBO property, not a TNT property, so I don't get why they're doing that. But they need to cut out the snowing thing anymore because I don't get what snowing has to do with Sting. I really don't. And Team Taz are just looking like bitches every single fucking week. They didn't come out this week. They stayed in the back. Good God for them. Because there's a 61-year-old man with a baseball bat there. So I don't need them going in there and trying to put themselves in harm's way. Ugh. They just look stupid. They look like boobs for doing that. The booking on AEW makes everybody look like boobs. It's bad. At the end of the day, the AEW booking is just fucking god awful. But so let's get to questions. There are some questions in the Discord chat room. So let's get to it for a second. Let's see. Maurice Bear. He asked me, do I think Xia Li would be NXT Women's Champion? I do. She has the talent and she has the look. Like I said, I've always liked Xia Li. I always thought she was talented. I always thought she had a look. She's got those thick ass legs. So she can kick ass for sure. I'm liking this gimmick. I'm really liking this gimmick. I was kind of surprised she wasn't here this week. But I'm liking the gimmick. I'm loving the entrance. Due time. In due time, she will be in the women's title picture, in the main event picture. So we'll see what she does. But I'm liking it. I'm loving it. I want some more of it. If anyone can get that reference, you're good to me. Brother Monty! Shout out to Monty. Monty, if you're listening, I'm glad to hear from you, dude. I hope you're doing okay. I can see he put, he was commenting on something that Maurice said, but he asked me, do I think Legado del Fantasma can pull off the trio champions look even though Escobar is the cruiserweight champion? Because I know that promo is pretty good. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the promo, Monty, I'll be honest. I've said before, and Monty, you're on the show, where I said I think that cruiserweight title hurts Escobar a lot more than it helps. Because, again, point at the obvious. He's supposed to be the cruiserweight champion. He's supposed to be the champion of people that are 205 pounds or below. And yet, he looks fucking Jack Diesel. He looks bigger than the NXT World Champion. He looks bigger than their secondary champion, which is, the North American champion. He's a guy that should already be in a program with Adam Cole or, Undisputed Era or, Finn Balor. It's just, it doesn't really, I don't like the whole cruiserweight thing. I really don't. And that was a group I thought that they were actually going to put titles on. Because I forgot what NXT TakeOver it was when all of them were wrestling in championship matches. I was just like, yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to put, all titles on them because they want to make that into a thing because that's usually what they want to do. But they haven't, so I don't know. I can't. I don't really know how to answer that question, Monty. I would have thought by now they would have had all the gold, but I think that NXT or that cruiserweight title kind of comes into play. I think it's kind of hurting him more than it's helping him. Not just Escobar, but I think it's the whole group. Yeah, that's pretty much my whole opinion on it. As far as wrestling talk goes, that's everything I gotta talk about. What else can we talk about? I was saying an hour. We can do an hour and 15 minutes. So WandaVision. I don't know if anyone watches WandaVision. It premiered last Friday on Disney Plus. They put out the first 2 episodes, which I thought was kind of odd. It would have been nice if they put out 3 episodes. I mean, it'd be nice to put out all episodes, but hey, that's just me. They want to fuck with people. They want to do the old school thing of tune in next week instead of, Netflix, which is just like, here's everything. So, I don't know. But WandaVision on Marvel, the whole point of it is that Scarlet Witch, Wanda and Vision are trapped in what looks like a sitcom. They haven't really given away too much as to what's really going on. Because you're not sure if Scarlet Witch is trapped in her own mind or if somebody's, doing this to her. So, I mean, Elizabeth Olsen had said in an interview that we probably won't even find out who the villain is until like the last episode. So, you can already tell what's kind of going on, but it's Marvel. Marvel wants you to think that you're thinking. They don't want you to think. They want you to think that you're thinking. So, we're not even sure who the villain is. I mean, supposedly the villain is Mephisto, from the way it looks. I mean, if anyone doesn't know who Mephisto is, he's the MCU's Satan. He runs the MCU's hell. It could be another villain. It could be Nightmare. I mean, these shows are supposed to affect what happens in the movies, and the movies are supposed to affect what happens in the shows, because what happens here is going to affect what happens in Spider-Man 3 and also Doctor Strange 2, the Multiverse of Madness. And Wanda is supposed to be in Doctor Strange 2. So far in the first 2 episodes, in the first episode, it's a take on the Dick Van Dyke Show, and it's in the style of a sitcom. And the second episode is in the style of Bewitched, and the intro is even pretty much Bewitched. There's little tiny things here and there. I think what's interesting is that they show like these random commercials promoting like random shit. Like, buy the new Stark Industries, microwave. It can make, pie. It can make cheese sandwiches. And I thought what was pretty interesting was that, for one thing, it's Stark Industries, number one. And then second, you're hearing like the beeping sound. So, and if, people, anyone saw, Avengers Age of Ultron, Wanda had said that, a missile struck her house from Stark. Not directly from Tony Stark, but, Stark Industries, sold weapons, and, Obadiah Stane had worked with some pretty shady people and sold weapons to him. So that missile came from Stark Industries. And I thought one thing someone pointed out that was pretty interesting, that was reviewing the show, was that these commercials they're promoting Wanda's fears. Because the second commercial in the second episode was a watch called Strucker Watch. And on it said Hydra. And if anyone remembers Strucker, he was in Age of Ultron. He actually came out at the end of Winter Soldier, where he said, it's the age of miracles, nothing's more terrifying than a miracle. And he had Loki's, stick that had the Mind Stone, and that's when you first saw Wanda and Quicksilver. Because they were, the first 2 patients, if you want to call them, the volunteers, and that's where they got their powers. So these commercials are a way of mocking Wanda's fears. One being Stark, that, Stark missile killed her family, and the second being, Strucker, Hydra, that tested on her and gave her powers. I mean, are there going to be more commercials? That'd be pretty interesting if there are more commercials in like like something involving Thanos, something involving, the Accords, like anything that involves something that's mocking, Wanda. Another thing that someone pointed out that I thought was kind of interesting was that, like any sitcom that we saw from like past and present, there's always that generic canned laughter. So, someone said something that it's almost like the laugh track can almost be a protagonist or an antagonist against Wanda, because they're mocking her, they're mocking her pain, they're mocking her fears. So right now we don't really know too much about the episode, because at the end of the first episode you just saw the camera pan out and you saw somebody watching, and you saw a logo that turned out to be Sword, which is the opposite issue. Which they're actually, it seems like they're actually trying to say Wanda. In the second episode, you had Wanda. She was talking to somebody next to a radio, and you heard somebody say, Wanda, who's doing this to you, blah blah blah. And at the end of the episode, there was a random guy in a beekeeper's outfit that came out of a tunnel, not a tunnel, but what is it? The sewer. And he had that same, Sword logo. So as soon as Wanda saw that, she said no, and she rewinded everything back to where they were in the house, and then she turned everything into color from black and white. So the next episode, we're going into like the 60s and 70s and 80s, so we're probably getting like a Brady Bunch, Full House type of shtick. So far, I'm invested. I don't really understand everything that's going on, but I'm invested. Again, it's Marvel. Marvel has my trust. They have my allegiance, and they have my investment. They have my time and investment. So if it wasn't Marvel, I wouldn't be as invested. But since it's Marvel, I am going to stay on until I know what's going to happen, what I think what's going to happen, or if something completely different happens, I'll be happy because it's Marvel. So, but yeah, anyways, that's the show tonight. Haven't done any solo shows in a while, so quick 75 minutes. But see you guys next week, which is going to be Royal Rumble predictions. Hopefully I'll have some guests on, so we'll see what happens. And I'm planning on doing a Royal Rumble post show for next Sunday. Not this Sunday, but the Sunday after this coming Sunday. You guys know what I mean. But I have actually have next weekend off. Sorry. We're trying to solve my own spit. I have next weekend off, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I have a 5-day weekend off next week. So I'll be doing a Royal Rumble post show, hopefully with some guests. I'm trying to see if I can get Kevin and Monty and RJ. Maybe I'll have someone new on. You never know. But see you guys next week. Shout out to Wrestling Soup, Kevin Castle, Trez, Monty. Send your well wishes to Monty. RJ, Texas Podcast Massacre, Wrestling Court, Clark Street Wrestling Podcast, Trademark, False Count Radio, and show some love to everybody that has a podcast. So, anyways, guys, take care and have a good night.
The Drew Yari Show.
It's Drew Yari. It's Drew Yari.
The Drew Yari Show.
It's Drew Yari. It's Drew Yari.
The Drew Yari Show.
It's Drew Yari.
The Drew Yari Show.
It's Drew Yari.
The Drew Yari Show.